Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today, we have our official second rounds grading of the 2024 NBA drafts. So there was 28 picks in the second round because the 76ers and the Suns had to relinquish their picks because they tampered. 76ers, I'm not exactly sure for who, but I do know that the Suns was for Drew Eubanks. See how that ended up. But yeah, we have the second round. Obviously, starting here, we do have Jonathan Mogbo. But make sure to like and subscribe. Go into the description, submit your video ideas, and let's get right into it. But like I said, starting off with Jonathan Mogbo, I'm gonna give this one a B minus. I really thought that this team was gonna be looking to take possibly a Tyler Smith here at 31. That's what I had mocked. And then you went and took Jonathan Mogbo. I guess he does fit what you're looking to do and get some more strength at that forward position right now. Obviously you have guys there like Kelly Olynyk who we're not so sure what his future is with this team. Obviously Jakob Poeltl as well, but even at that forward position, other than Scotty Barnes, I'm not so confident in a guy like Chris Boucher, and then even further down like a Muhammad Gay, not so confident in him as well. So that's why I do like this pick. It's gonna get a B minus for me though, because I think there were a lot better prospects still on the board. Next up, we have the Utah Jazz taking Kyle Filipowski. This is not going to get an A plus for me. I don't care he was mocked in the 20s. I don't care he was mocked in the teens. He's not going to have a not solid, okay. He's not going to have an elite NBA career. I'll say that. I don't think his game's going to translate well to the NBA. I mean, I've said it so many times, but I don't think the outside jumper will be that good right when he comes into the league. His interior defense is not good. His footwork in the post is okay. I'll give him that. But even then, his finishing is spotty sometimes. His free throws were bad. Like he had or this year he was an okay 3-point shooter and a bad free throw shooter. The year before he was a bad free throw shooter and or the opposite. He was a good free throw shooter, but a bad 3-point shooter. I'm not so sure what he's good at. But yeah, his wingspan is shorter than his height, which is something we barely see with NBA big man. All signs are pointing to that this guy will not be a great NBA player, and I'm gonna stick with that. It's getting an A minus though because this is still very good value at pick 32 for the Utah Jazz. I'm not mad they made it, and I also blessed them with that bottom left logo because I know that's not your logo in real life. Next up at 33, we have Tyler Smith to the Bucks. Gonna get an A for me. This was for me a top 20 prospect you got at pick 33. It's just a perfect fit for their team. Right now, they're focused on getting more stretch fours, more stretch big man in general. Brook Lopez, he's been rumored to get moved. Now, can Tyler Smith really play that center position? I'm not sure. I don't believe he can, but it gives you more height, it gives you more big man depth, and that's why I like it a lot. Next up at 34, we had Tyler Kolek to the New York Knicks. I like this one a lot. It's going to get an A for me. The Knicks did need another lead guard to lead that second unit. Miles McBride was there. I don't really consider him a lead guard. I think he's definitely more of an off-ball player, more of a combo guard. I think if Tyler Kolek can come in, maybe even right away, and be a very solid backup point guard, you have yourself in great hands. Next up, we have Johnny Furphy to the Indiana Pacers. This is going to get an A for me as well. Not a bad pick at all. I mean, you got someone who was slated to go in the first round and basically every single mock draft at pick 36. Honestly, this second round for the Indiana Pacers might have just carried their draft grade to somewhere in the A. They had 0 first round picks and they still killed the draft in the second round. I love this pick a lot. It's going to get an A for me. Next up, we have, I believe this is pick 37. We have Juan Nunes. Or excuse me, Juan Nunes was pick 36. I think if the Spurs wanted to take that passing playmaking guard. They could have traded up for Tyler Kolek. I mean, the Knicks traded up for Tyler Kolek. They got him. There was so many trades in the second round that I felt like the Spurs, like, I would rather trade up a couple spots for Tyler Kolek than just settle on Juan Nunes. I think Juan Nunes is a solid passer, but he makes a lot of passes that I am not sure will fly in the NBA level. Cross court passes, no look passes. I mean, it looks good where he's playing right now, but at the NBA level, we're going to have more athletic people. I mean, athletes are crazy at the NBA level. We're going to have more height. The arms are going to be so much longer. It's just not going to work for me. So it's going to get a C for me. I think if they really wanted that lead guard, if they really wanted a nice backup point guard for the future, they could go ahead and select Tyler Kolek. They didn't do that. They waited. They wanted to take Juan Nunez. That's why it's only going to get a C for me. Next up at 37, we have Bobby Clinton to the Detroit Pistons. This is going to get an A minus for me. I think people underrate the shooting that Bobby Clinton does bring to an NBA team. So that's why it's going to get an A minus for me. The Pistons obviously do need shooting. They took Ron Holland at 5, not the greatest shooter. And I think Bobby Clinton can honestly get minutes for this team right away. Is it likely? No. But if he was at the end of the rotation right away, if he maybe has a good summer league, a good training camp, I think Bobby Clinton can make an immediate reaction or effect or anything to this Pistons team because they need something. Next up at 38, we have AJ Mitchell to the OKC Thunder. This is going to get a B for me. I like AJ Mitchell as a prospect. I mean, early in my mock drafts, I had him in the first round sometimes. Same thing with KJ Simpson. But it's only going to get a B for me because I don't think that this team needed a guard. I would like them to select more size at that forward position. Even right here, I know it's probably seems a little bit too early, but PJ Hall right here would be too mad by me. If they wanted to say more of a developmental guy, I could have possibly seen a or Chomche, maybe even a Justin Edwards, who's more of a bigger wing than what AJ Mitchell brings to the table. But this team has a lot of guards. I mean, they picked Nicole Jich in the first round, and I'm gonna be honest. Am I great? I think I gave that a C plus. Probably at this point give it a B minus or a B. Just a couple hours later. That's just what my opinion would be. But yeah, AJ Mitchell, he's not a bad player. I thought it would probably go a little bit later than this, but the Thunder specifically, I don't like it as much. Next up is Jaylen Wells to the Memphis Grizzlies at pick 39. I actually did a lot of film study on Jaylen Wells to lead up to this draft, and I like him a lot. I didn't have him in my second round mock draft, I don't believe, because there were some questions with his or by NBA analysts. It was questionable whether or not he'd make that second round. I believe that he's definitely one of the top 50-ish prospects in this draft class, and honestly, I do regret that because, looking back at it, Jalen Rose 100% deserved to be drafted. I think his shot creation is very underrated. Now, will he be able to do that with the Memphis Grizzlies? Probably not, because they have a system over there. They're not going to rely on Jalen Wells. But I think over time, he could develop in that system and end up being a very solid backup win. At 40, we have also Iguodala to the Phoenix Suns. This is going to get an A minus for me. I love this pick a lot. The Suns get a big man who's able to dish the ball, who has great touch around the rim and can catch lobs. He is basically the perfect player that the team before. At 41, we have a Dembona to the Philadelphia 76ers. This is going to get an A minus for me. Thought the Sixers would go back a big man. Uh, back a big man in the second round. And they did. They just didn't go over Chomche. They did go a Dembona. I like this. I thought he was going to go higher, honestly. I think his aggression on both sides of the ball is going to help this team immediately. And because this 76ers team only has like 3, 4 players on their roster right now, maybe we see a Dembona get some playing time next year. It's not likely. I mean, honestly, he's still a little bit raw, but I think he does bring great intangibles to the NBA core. At 42, we have KJ Simpson to the Charlotte Hornets. It's going to get a B minus for me. Another team that I think has a lot of guards on that roster right now, where I probably would rather them draft a big man. I know they do have Nick Richards and Mark Williams right now, but Mark Williams has been very inconsistent in terms of health through his NBA career. So if they want or Chonche possibly, if they went a PJ Hall, even an Ariel Haporti, even a Quenton Post. I didn't really think he was going to be a second rounder, but maybe even him. I would like that a little bit more. But they went ahead and got another guard to add to the LaMelo Ball, to Trey Man, to Reggie Jackson now. This team has a lot of guards. Even if you want to go further down, you have Bryce McGowan, you have Amari Bailey, you have Nick Smith Jr. This team has a lot of guards. I just don't see where KJ Simpson's ever going to get playing time. That's why it's going to get a B minus for me. 43, we have Nicole Jich to the Atlanta Hawks. I believe during the drafts, Jonathan Gavoni was mentioning that this was going to be a draft and stash player, which I'm fine with. I think if he does spend a year or two overseas, or I don't even know how long he's going to spend over there, and he comes back to America with the Atlanta Hawks, will be a lot better. He's still very raw, but there's great playmaking with him, especially being a 6'8" wing. I think his playmaking is very underrated. He can catch and shoot. He can get to his spot in terms of mid range, but also that guy can pass the ball. I like this pick a lot. It's gonna get a B plus for me. At 44, we have Pelle Larson to the Miami Heat. It's gonna get a B minus for me. I would really like them to see or them to pick Jamal Shed, and he was available for you. He want the pick right after. So the fact that they did not get him at 43 is kind of mind-boggling to me because he was the perfect Miami Heat player. But at 44, we do have Jamal Shed to the Toronto Raptors. A minus. I like this pick a lot. I had Jamal Shed a lot higher on my big board. I think he's going to be a great lockdown lead dog on defense going into the NBA. If he can get playing time right away, I'd be so happy because I think he could affect this Toronto Raptors team in so many different ways. A minus for sure. At 46, we have Max Christie to the Los Angeles Clippers. It's going to get an A for me. I love this pick a lot. Max Christie was also a guy I had a lot higher on my big board. I think he was a better prospect than what his brother was coming out of Michigan State. And Max Christie, I think he's a great shot maker. He can come off screens. He can rise up. He has a great release. And I think he can help this Clippers down the line when maybe they want to get rid of those Paul Georges, Kawhi Leonards, Russell Westbrooks. James Harden's, and they want to start this new culture here in Los Angeles with that new logo, with that new stadium. I think Max Christie is going to bring a lot of joy to Clippers fans in years to come. At 47, the Pelicans took Antonio Reeves out of Kentucky. Give us a C plus. I know they were trying to target shooting around Zion Williamson, and Antonio Reeves is bring that. I just didn't think he was going to go this high. I think that his defense, like the other guards at Kentucky, Rob Dillingham, Reed Shepard's a little bit better. It's just questionable. Even Justin Edwards as well, DJ Wagner, it's just questionable. So whether or not he could bring that to the NBA level, he probably does not. Okay, not probably. He will not get playing time right away. He'll be a G League guy, and I don't think it's a terrible pick. I just don't think he had to be this early. At 48, it was Harrison Ingram to the San Antonio Spurs. Honestly, I could probably move this grade up a little bit. I think he does fit into what the Spurs want to do in a very aggressive guard slash wing that's able to make plays on both sides of the ball. He's one of the most underrated defenders in this draft class, and he's just a hustle player. He does everything right on the court, and him being a stocky 6'5" wing slash guard will help the San Antonio Spurs a lot. At 49, we had the Indiana Pacers take Tristan Newton. It's going to get an A minus for me. I was in deep belief that this team needed another guard to add to that team. When you think about it right now, obviously you do have Tyrese Halliburton, you do have TJ McConnell, and I guess Andrew Nemhard could play some backup one as well. But other than that, there's really nothing. And Andrew Nemhard's your starting shooting guard. So I want to get another guy in there. I know you do have Isaiah Wong in there as well, but I do trust Tristan Newton a lot more for the future. He's a lot better of a playmaker, a rebounder, and he really controls the pace of the game. And if he really gets playing time in what year 3 or year 4 of his career, I think he could be a great backup point guard. And I really don't see this man not being a 10 to 15-year NBA player just because how well he controls the pace of the game, how he doesn't make too many mistakes, and the jump shot's pure as well. At 50, we have Enrique Freeman to the Indiana Pacers. I think this is a great pick as well. I mentioned that I think the Pacers had one of the best second rounds or in all of the best drafts in the NBA because they hit on basically every single one of their second rounders. Enrique Freeman, a freak rebounder, also extremely athletic. The Pacers definitely hit on this. I like this a lot. 51, we have a Melvin Ejim to the Dallas Mavericks. I'm gonna give this a B plus. I think he can bring good shooting right away. Also, some very versatile defense. He's 6'8". That is very tall for a shooting guard. And I think down the line, Melvin Ejim can end up being a very solid backup wing on a championship team like the Dallas Mavericks are trying to become. At 52, we had Quenton Post to the OKC Thunder. Only going to get a C minus from me. I think they did the good or the right job in trying to go get another big man because really that right now in terms of Chet Holmgren, obviously Jalen Williams, J. Will. That's really all you have at that center position. Like that's it. And at your power forward position, you have no height. You have J Dub, and behind him, what you have Aaron Wiggins. You need more height on that team. Quentin Post brings that. I just don't know how well his game's gonna translate to the NBA. I would rather a PJ Hall or maybe even a developmental guy like an Oric Chomshay or possibly a Ariel Hukporti. At 53, we have the Grizzlies take Cam Spencer out of UConn. Get this one a C plus. I don't know how well his game is going to translate to the NBA just because of how slow he is and how much of a pure shooter. Like he can't really do too much more on the court. He's a solid playmaker. I mean, I watched every single one of his games last season along with Tristan Newton because I'm a UConn fan, but he is a pure shooter. I mean, it looked good every single time it left his hands. I'm sure the percentages were crazy. I don't know on the top of my head, but every single time this man shot, it looked like there was a great chance of it going in. He basically filled that Jordan Hawkins role perfectly from when he left last year to the New Orleans Pelicans. Cam Spencer came in, did his job, and now he's an NBA pick. I think UConn and Cam Spencer had a great draft. 54 had Anton Watson to the Celtics. Looks like the Celtics are just getting more guys that can maybe come in and play minutes right away. Anton Watson obviously spent, what was it, 3? No, it was definitely 4 years. Maybe it was even 5 years at Gonzaga. He's just going to be a solid role player. He'll set screens, he'll get rebounds, there's not too much love out of his game because he's just solid at everything, but there's no wrong pick here at 53, honest. Or what is this, 50? No, this is 55, I think. There's no wrong pick here, so that's why I'm not mad at it. My bad. This is pick 55. Obviously, Bronny James, the one you guys have all been waiting for. It's gonna get a C plus for me. There's just better guys that they could have taken off the board for sure. They could have taken obviously Justin Edwards, who I think has, at the end of the day, higher ceiling than Bronny. PJ Hall because they definitely still need more big man depth behind Anthony Davis. Even he wants to play the power forward next year. Could also maybe behind Jackson Hayes decide to bring him back. Other than that, they're not bringing back Christian Wood, and behind him, we're not playing Colin Castleton. So I would have rathered another big man, but I guess Bronny James, you had to make the pick, so I'm fine with it. 56 had Kevin McCullough going to the New York Knicks, and during the broadcast on ESPN, they were talking about Bronny James for like 5 minutes. They completely passed up on the fact that the Knicks got maybe one of the biggest steals in this whole draft class. Kevin McCullough, I thought was going to be an early second round pick. I thought if it wasn't for his injury, he was going to be a first round pick. The Knicks got an absolute steal here at pick 56. 57 had Ulrich Chomshay to the Toronto Raptors. It's going to get an A for me. Masai Ujiri, he got his prototypical, is that a word? Prototypical guy here at 57, right? Yeah, he got his guy here. I think Ulrich Chomshay is going to be athletic for them. He's not going to play right away for sure. It'll be a nice G League guy, and down the line, he can maybe replace what Chris Boucher brought. And last but not least, with the last pick of the draft, the New York Knicks selected Ariel Hokaporti. It's gonna get a C plus from me. They are forced into picking big man because they need big man right now. I doubt Isaiah Hartenstein returns for that team next year. He's gonna take money from another team. I'm going to guess because he deserves it. But it's gonna get a C plus. It would have been lower if this team didn't need big man, but because they did, it's gonna get a C plus. So that's gonna be it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe. Go into the description, click the Google Forms link, and submit your video ideas. And yes, see you guys next time. Peace.